Who wants to talk about growing old, getting sick, disability, death? I know, it's not the best topic of conversation, and then even when you get into it, there's different kinds of financial accounts, there's legal language that's really outdated and doesn't make any sense. But don't worry, there is a path through estate planning. You know it's important, but you don't know where to start. I help people have this conversation all the time, and they always seem to be very relieved at how easy it turns out to be. I'm estate planning and elder law attorney Patrick Cawley. I'm with Keystone Elder Law in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, and I want you to know just a few things that you need to do to prepare to have this very important conversation. I promise you it goes a lot smoother than you expect it to. So what you need to think about is the who, the what, and the goals. So the who is simply start making a list of your family members. Not only you, your spouse, but your children, grandchildren. Come up with as many addresses, phone numbers, email addresses as you can. Put that all together. That's a really good start. And when you start thinking about the who, part of what you're doing is you're deciding who are your decision makers going to be. So if you do become incapacitated by an illness or an injury, who do you want to rely on? Your spouse, your children, whoever it may be, maybe a trusted friend, to make decisions for you when you're not able to do those things for yourself. That's a huge part of estate planning. The next thing you're doing is deciding who's going to get property. This is what most people think of when it comes to estate planning. How do you want to distribute your property at the end of your life? Obviously, that's an important thing to start thinking through. You don't have to have all the answers yet. That will come after you speak with a good elder law or estate planning attorney. So we've talked about the who. What about the what? When it comes to the what, if you have a financial advisor, ask your financial advisor for a detailed report of everything you have. That's going to list how much money you have in bank accounts, what do you have in brokerage accounts, tax qualified retirement accounts like IRAs, 401ks, and things like that. What kinds of insurance policies do you have? That's all critically important to estate planning because I could draft the best will or trust in the world for you, and your plan will be right there in those documents. But then if your assets are held all in a retirement account and it's all going out through a beneficiary designation, then the plan you have in your estate planning documents is not going to work the way that you think it is. So your estate planning attorney really ought to have a sense of what your financial advisor is doing for you, or your accountant. If you don't work with a financial advisor or an accountant, that's fine, but do your best to come up with a list of everything you have. Bank accounts, retirement accounts, insurance policies, and so forth. So we've talked about the who and the what. And then finally, what are your goals? This is very, very important. So for example, the older you get, statistically, the biggest threat to your hard-earned savings is the cost of long-term care. When you get sick, when you need a lot of extra support in your later years, how are you going to pay for that? It can get very expensive, especially the higher the level of care that you need. So there are government benefits available. Are we planning ahead for that? If so, your estate planning should include provisions that will allow that to happen seamlessly. It should also include a plan to avoid the government, either in the form of a Medicaid estate recovery, coming back to get the cost of your care recovered out of your estate. That should be covered in your estate plan. And obviously mitigating your taxes, avoiding having to pay any more taxes than you are legally required to pay to the government. That should all be part of your goals. So maybe start thinking about that and ask as many questions along those lines as you need to when you get to your appointment. And finally, are you giving money away now? Is that part of your plan? Rather than waiting until the end of your life, maybe you're giving money to your loved ones now, and that's fine, but there are some consequences and pros and cons when it comes to gifting during your life that you can discuss with your estate planning or elder law attorney, and you should definitely bring it up if you are giving gifts now to discuss what that means for your estate plan. If you have questions about the who, the what, the goals, give us a call, shoot us an email at info@keystoneelderlaw.com. If you're still in that preliminary phase, you're not ready to make an appointment, but you want to be able to gather all the information, just let us know. We'll tell you what kinds of things you might want to be thinking about, the kinds of records you might want to assemble, and then we'd be happy, of course, to work with you and get you going on the right path.